Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Pitchin'. My name is Alray Almeida. I am co-founder and CEO at Volterra, a local hardware company, and one of your MCs for this evening.
And I am your other one. And my name is Laura Flatt, and I am on the board with Plugin, as well with some of my team that is here tonight as well. And we are a community building group. Together with Communitech and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Waterloo Region, we are proud to bring you the second Pitchin' event. With Pitchin', we set out to introduce you to some of the wonderful organizations in our community that are looking for volunteers just like you.
Now, most of us have seen a pitch competition, and I've participated in a couple hundred of them. Usually the biggest challenge is making a very niche problem seem relatable, even when sometimes it really isn't. Well, that takes a lot of passion. And tonight you're gonna get even more passion, but for organizations that we can actually relate to. When you're pitching your company, it's all about securing a make or break investment, but tonight it's about securing amazing volunteers. One of the most important resources that charities like you'll hear from tonight have access to. And as a volunteer, you're investing your time, but you're also receiving a return on investment yourself. Everything from learning new skills, making new friends, strengthening your community, and making this entire region a better place to live. That simple investment of a couple of hours of your time has a return that benefits people throughout this entire community.
We held the first Pitchin' event this past February, and we knew we had to repeat the event. We signed up over 100 volunteers and raised hundreds of dollars for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Waterloo Region, all while letting people from the tech community tell personal stories of mentorship, inclusion, hope, and community. We're excited to see what our next pitch partners have in store for us tonight.
So, this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna hear 6 pitches tonight from the following charities: the Museum, Junior Achievement, KW Habilitation, the KW Humane Society, the KW Multicultural Centre, and Women's Crisis Services. Our pitchers have been working with their community counterparts for the past few weeks to hone their message into a strong elevator pitch. Each team will have 3 to 5 minutes to share with you a little about the organization, some examples of ways you can get involved, and reasons why you should actually volunteer your time there. They don't get pitch decks, they don't get teleprompters, they have to rely on their powers of persuasion to win your time investment.
One way that tonight is different from a typical pitch competition is that you are the investors. Our audience, both here and watching online, will help decide the outcome of the pitch by potentially starting to volunteer and getting involved with the community. After the pitches have been delivered, we invite you to join us in Communitech's Area 151, where all the groups you'll hear about tonight will be available to answer any questions you may have. There will also be food, refreshments, and great networking opportunities.
If you are sharing Pitchin' on social media, please feel free to mention any organization that caught your interest and use the hashtag #PitchinWR. WR for Waterloo Region. Not sure if it's on the screens, but hashtag #PitchinWR. Now, let's get this show on the road. Our first pitcher tonight is Greg Barrett from Communitech. Greg will be pitching on behalf of the museum. The museum is a new kind of museum dedicated to presenting fresh, relevant cultural content from around the globe in unique and interactive ways that intersect art, science, culture, and tech. Let's give it up for Greg Barrett. Woo!
Good evening. Thank you, Laura. You've covered my pitch, so I'll just take another 4 minutes and 58 seconds and do the rest. First of all, I just want to thank the group for the commitment to community. These days, people define community very broadly, worldwide, diverse interests, and all the rest. But it's part of that, the local community that's around the home that you build and the place where you live, work, and play is important. So I commend you for all of that. And whether it's time, it's talent, or it's the money that you pay, very important what we're doing. So I'm going to talk to you about the museum and a particular opportunity to volunteer, to use your time and your talent. First of all, who knows where the museum is? Awesome. Geez, between you and Laura, my work's almost done. Who's been to the museum? Awesome. Okay. So advice from me, if you're going to volunteer, I think you want to look at least a couple things. One, the people with whom you'll work, and secondly, the mission and whether you believe in the mission. So let's talk about the museum with respect to that. First, the people. Is David Marskell here? Where's David? I thought he was coming, maybe later. David is the CEO. So the museum opened 15 years ago Tuesday, or Wednesday, and David was an arrival about 2 years after he came. He brought a Toronto arts and culture focus to the museum and took something that was kind of cool and made it really cool. David's hardworking, he's imaginative, he's approachable, he's a house on fire, great guy to be attached with, and because he is accessible, you'll see him in the day-to-day. Caitlin Wagg is the volunteer coordinator, also from Toronto, has come down the road, bringing the arts and culture perspective, awesome person to work with. So the people part of it is solid. Now I should also say, many of you have been there. If you haven't, it's truly one of the cool spaces here in the region. Former department store, 3 floors cut away, awesome place. So let's talk about the mission. 80,000 people a year come through the doors of the museum doing one of 3 things. The first is exhibits. Andy Warhol, dinosaurs, Egypt, a number of other cool things have all been either created by the museum or brought to town by the museum. Secondly, events. Gord Downey tribute, a 90s music appreciation night. Would have been better if it was 80s, but anyway, 90s. And even a Robbie Alomar talk night for those of you that are baseball fans. So the event piece is solid. What I'm really talking tonight about is the underground studio makerspace, and that's a prime example of the programming that goes on. Think of an art class combined with a design studio, combined with a woodworking shop, combined with an electronic shop. And think of the kind of artwork or gadgets that can get created. What it brings is problem solving, confidence, an ability to fail, an ability to create something cool, an ability to work with the hands for the students of our region. And in most cases, I think our schools these days are not as on topic with that kind of stuff. So the museum fills a huge gap. And so the volunteer opportunity is primarily, although you could work with events and you could work with exhibits, it's primarily about the underground studio makerspace and helping them with the programming. And what they're looking for is some sort of serial commitment. It might be a half day or it might be a couple of hours, but because they're going to train you to work in this cool space with these students who come, it's a serial volunteer opportunity. So I'll just read some of the aspects of the program. There are camps, workshops, and school programs. There's one for STEM-powered girls, it's called, for young women ages 19 to 14. There is STEM Week, science, technology, engineering, and math, of course, programming related, and a variety of other things. So if you're wanting to work with a cool place that really is the epicenter of arts and culture here, and if you want to work with a place that has cool programming that fills a really interesting need for our students and gets them going on right brain activities and to complement the left brain, then go talk to Caitlin in Area 151. I believe it's an awesome opportunity to work at a really cool place. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Greg. Our next pitcher is Lizzie Azuya. Lizzie is a marketer at Kaya, an e-gift registry created to encourage meaningful gifting. She will be pitching on behalf of Junior Achievement, an organization I used to be a part of. And they focus on teaching financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and work readiness to students in the Waterloo region. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Lizzie.
Hi. Wow, it's a full house tonight. Thank you for having me here today. Bisan asked me, and I was very nervous, but I accepted. So today I'm going to be talking about Junior Achievement Waterloo Region. They're one of Canada's largest business ed organizations that reach about 250,000 students each year and focus on programs that teach financial literacy skills, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. And they're in need of volunteers to help deliver these programs. So a little bit about myself. I came to Canada about 10 years ago as an international student, and volunteering was a huge, huge part of my integration into the Canadian society. Not only did it help me develop the skills I needed to land the right job, jobs, it also helped me improve on my Canadian social skills. So knowing how to say sorry all the time and knowing the right time to smile back at strangers when they smile at you for no apparent reason and not think it's creepy at all. And not to mention the amazing feeling of knowing that you're contributing positively to businesses and, more importantly, charities and nonprofits that need and appreciate the help. So that being said, JA Waterloo Region is inspiring and preparing young people for the new global economy. There were two facts that I thought were really interesting. One of them is that 50% of students that go through their in-class programs are more likely to own their own businesses and more likely to hold senior and managerial roles. And the other fact is that for every dollar that is invested into JA, there's a $45 return to our economy, and I thought that was really cool. JA's priority are their in-class programs, like I mentioned, so they focus on financial literacy skills and money management habits. And as a volunteer, you will be trained to deliver these programs to grade 7 and grade 8 students. And this program is important because they're being delivered to schools in our region that have higher needs. So schools that have a higher percentage of underprivileged students and a higher percentage of at-risk youth. And so far, about 300 classrooms have been identified that meet this criteria. So the two programs, I'm just going to talk quickly about the two programs that are going to be delivered to these classrooms. So the first one is called the Dollars with Sense program, which is designed to encourage students to develop the financial literacy skills that they need to make informed decisions about their financial life. And the second program is called the Economics for Success program, which teaches them how they can prepare a career path, set goals, and seize opportunities. So the time commitment for volunteers range anywhere from half-day sessions to full-day sessions, and this depends on the open and close times of the school, so anywhere between 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. As a JA volunteer, you will be educating young, eager people on life topics like how to set a budget, how to start a business, and finding the jobs that are out there in this economy. In the last year, JA reached over 5,000 students, and this year they're aiming to reach about 7,200 students. So I encourage you all tonight after you leave here to find a booth, ask questions, visit their website in jawaterlooregion.com, and you can find the registration form is super easy and short, and it won't take any time at all. And just join the movement towards reducing the number of educated people that are living in poverty in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lizzie. Next up, we have Jeff Collins. Jeff is the Member Experience Consultant for Group Retirement Services. Did I get that right? For Sun Life. Jeff has been a volunteer with KW Habilitation for several years and is currently proudly serving as the president of the board of directors. Jeff will be pitching for KW Habilitation, a nonprofit supporting children with special needs and adults with developmental disabilities. Please welcome Jeff.
Thank you very much. I am very excited to be here today to tell you the story of Sean. Sean is 27 years old. He grew up in Waterloo Region. He went to Bluevale. He loves cycling, reading, playing video games. And a couple of years ago, he got a job as an office assistant at Vidyard, and he absolutely loves it. He loves the people. He loves the atmosphere. He loves the company events. He even had the opportunity to get his picture taken with the Canadian JT when Justin Trudeau came to the office. Vidyard is now such a huge part of Sean's life, and he considers his colleagues their family. It's really easy to see that they feel the same way. His manager talks about his infectious attitude, his work ethic, and how the place just doesn't feel the same when he's not there. Now, you can probably guess, if Sean was just like anyone else, I wouldn't be up here on this stage talking about him. Sean is a member of KW Habilitation and has a disability. He actually got the job with Vidyard through one of their programs called KW Career Compass. Now, KW Habilitation has been a leader in the region for over 40 years in social services to children, youth, and adults with a wide array of disabilities. Now I have to check my notes. Nope, that's right. They truly believe in a community where everyone belongs and participates. I want you to think about that phrase for a second. A community where everyone belongs and participates. Now do me a favor and close your eyes for a second. And think about your social circle. Think about the people that you hang out with, that you have a drink with, maybe even the people you date. I bet you a lot of those faces that flash through your mind right now were people that you met through work. In fact, studies have shown that the fastest, most effective path to inclusion is through employment. So for Sean, working at Vidyard is more than just making a bit of money, or a lot of money. I'm not sure how much he makes. But it's about making connections with other people, learning new skills. It's about finding a deeper connection with the community. Now, the sad part is there are many Seans out there. There's many talented, passionate individuals with disabilities that just struggle to find a great company to work for. And now this is where you guys come in. We are looking to digitize the KW Career Compass platform. Now quickly, by show of hands, who here has heard of LinkedIn? Who here, keep them up if you've made a profile on LinkedIn. You've all just qualified to be a volunteer. Congratulations. What we're looking to do is, or what we want help with, is creating LinkedIn profiles for our members, and as well as creating a portal for our website to help companies find our members. Which is something I think you all can agree you just helped out with. Sean's story is a great one. And there's many others out there like his just waiting to be written. So with your help, and when we're finished here today, I really encourage you to come over to the KW Habilitation booth. You can find out a little bit more information. Hopefully we'll get your name. And you can play a part in writing that next story. It's amazing how much a little bit of your effort and your time can make on someone's life. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing Sean's story. I will be stopping by the booth. Next up, we have Jane Klugman. Jane is president at Whitney & Company Realty and a member of the board of directors of the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society. The KW Humane Society is not just for adopting pets. They also focus on the responsible treatment of animals through education, compliance, advocacy, and care. Everyone, please welcome Jane Klugman.
Hi, everybody. So I am on the board of directors for the KW Humane Society. I'm super busy, but this is an organization that I'm super passionate about. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. First of all, does anybody remember that little jingle by Captain and Tennille? Love, love will keep us. Greg knows it. Come on. Anyhow, every time I hear that song, and I hear it a lot because I listen to 70s radio, I think about the KW Humane Society. You listen to 70s radio too. Well, I think about the KW Humane Society because at the KW Humane Society, we specialize in love. We specialize in bringing people and pets together, and pets and people together. We've got over 100 programs that we run. And I'm not going to talk to you today about all those programs that we run because it would just take way too long and you'd be way too confused at the end of it. But what I am going to talk to you about is how we feel about it, about delivering those programs, and how you would feel if you volunteered for some of those programs. You probably know a few of our programs, like Kittens for Cupcakes. Anybody heard of that one? Yay. If you haven't, come see us because it's fun. Surf Dogs. That's a fun one. Anyhow, what our programs are so very cool and so very valuable for is because we teach adults and we teach children alike about caring and sharing. We teach about compassion. We teach about empathy, which quite frankly, there's far too little of these days. And we also teach about responsibility. Keeping a pet is a lot of responsibility, but it's also one of the most worthwhile things that we get to do as human beings. We get to spend time with our pets. We get to feed our pets, groom them. We even get to pick up in the backyard after them. That may not be so much fun, but we get to do it. Who in this room has a pet? Oh, do you love your pet? Yeah. Why? Because they're just so darn cute? Maybe only in your eyes, but they're just so darn cute? Well, it's most likely because they love us. They love us unconditionally. When you come home, are they there waiting at the door for you every single day? Mine are. I have cats. They're there mostly because they're frickin' hungry. They're sassy too. Yeah, you know. Every day, we're clogging up the internet with pictures of our animals. That's how much we love them, more than our kids. I often say when I come back, I want to come back as a cat or a dog. And it's probably true if you're one of our animals in this room, but it's not always true. So here's where I get serious. Pets are often not well looked after. And when pets aren't well looked after, oftentimes people aren't well looked after either. So when we find abused pets, we often find abused people, and we help both of them. We try and keep all of them safe. That's part of what we do at the Humane Society. And we've been called by neighbors who report abusive behavior to animals, and you know, we go in and we find them, we get the animals out, and we try and make them better. We rehabilitate them. We see everything from abandoned pets to unwanted pets to pets who need a home because maybe their mom or dad got super sick, or maybe their mom and dad has gotten old and had to go to a nursing home or long-term care. We see skunks, we see coyotes, we see rabbits and other critters, and we treat all of these animals, and sometimes we release them back into the wild, and with the domestic animals, we help them until they're able to be adopted. So our team, and we have a large team, but it's not large enough, so we rely on a lot of volunteers. But our team has a bunch of experts on it, from behavioral experts to trainers to veterinarians. In fact, if you haven't been to the Humane Society lately, I would strongly encourage you to come on down, because we'll give you a tour, we'll show you what's going on down there. We even have our own hospital. And in our own hospital, we're able to do costly operations on animals that are brought to us and then release them back out. So we do all this by generating our own revenue from our programs. And just as an FYI, we get no money from any government organization. It was a shocker when I found that out, because I thought we did. So what do we need? We need people, time, and money. But that's what all of these people need. So I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to tell you what we can do for you. We're going to give you an experience like no other. We're going to give you an opportunity to be up close and personal with animals of all shapes and sizes. Have you ever helped a complete stranger? Just think about that for a second. Think about helping somebody. Maybe they fell down. Maybe you helped them with groceries. Think about how that made you feel. Just that ability to be able to do good. Well, if you show up and help us, we'll give you that feeling every single day you show up. Before, when I was talking about the pets that have been abused, they're some of our hardest cases, and they're literally afraid of humans. And you'd be afraid of a human too if you've been kicked around your entire life by a human. So what some of our volunteers do is they sit outside the cages and they read to those animals. And just having those animals hear a human voice, it sensitizes them back to being able to be with humans. And I guarantee, when that pet puts its little paw out of the cage and looks up at you with its big eyes, it's almost saying thank you. And when it goes home to its new forever family, you're going to have a feeling like no other feeling that you've ever had. So come and see us. A bunch of the team is back here, and we're going to be in Area 151. And what I want you to remember is that At the KW Humane Society, we're all about people and pets and people. And we specialize in love. As the song says, love will keep us together. Come see us.
Thank you, Jane. Next, we have Bizan Zubi, the Community Relations Manager at Communitech, pitching on behalf of KW Multicultural Centre. Let me make sure I get all of this right. Do you want me to share a little more? The KW Multicultural Centre exists to foster the diversity which exists in the community and to work towards the full participation of everyone who lives here. Please welcome Bizan.
Check. Is this working? Hi. Thanks for 2 rounds of applause. Appreciate it. I am really happy to be here pitching you all on the Kitchener-Waterloo Multicultural Centre. Really quickly, the mission of the KW Multicultural Centre is to help break down the barriers that new Canadians face when they come here. They do that in a bunch of ways, by offering programs, language training, job search help, interpreters, settlement services, community, and more. They've been fulfilling a necessary role in Waterloo Region since 1967. In the last year alone, 2,800 clients have come through their doors, received these, really crucial services. My parents, when they arrived to Canada in the 1970s, were lucky because they had family here to help them get settled in an apartment in Toronto. My mom was a student and my dad was an artist, and they quickly built communities in their new home country, had my older brother and had me. My parents, despite having opportunities and connections waiting for them in Canada, still talk about those early years as the hardest of their lives. So imagine for 1 second coming to a new country without family members to settle you in, without jobs or educational opportunities lined up waiting for you, without English language skills, a community to support you, or even experience with the concept of winter. Imagine being a refugee, forced to leave all your things behind on a moment's notice and starting again with nothing. It's those people that the KW Multicultural Centre helps and that you could be helping too. If you're looking for an easy way to dip your toe into volunteering, you can sign up for their WR Connectors program. It's only an hour of your time where you would meet with a job-ready new Canadian in your field, and you'd look at their resume, you'd look at their cover letter, you would give them advice on breaking into the workforce here, and then afterwards you would refer them to a couple of your professional contacts so that they can do the same. There's only 9 people waiting for this opportunity in our region. If all of you signed up tonight, we could help them and get rid of that wait list completely. That's 1 hour of your life to potentially change someone else's life forever. I'm pretty sure that's called return on investment. But if you're looking for a chance to make an even bigger impact, I'd like to tell you about the Conversational English program. Growing up in Ottawa, I took the French immersion program in school. It was structured with the understanding that the best way to learn a language is by using it in real situations and immersing yourself in that. Conversational English program works in a similar way. It asks you to commit for a couple months at least to meet with the same person, to have simple conversations in English that you can build and grow on from week to week. There are currently over 80 people on the wait list for this program to be matched with partners who can talk to them. I've been meeting with my conversational English partner since January. Every week, for an hour, we talk. Her name is Firdaus, and she came here from Damascus, Syria, a couple years ago. I've built meeting with Firdaus into my work week because I think that giving back to our community is as part of our responsibilities working in the tech ecosystem, and it's as necessary as networking events or professional development. Sometimes our usual time doesn't work for both of us, so we can just reschedule and find another time that works. What started as a volunteer commitment quickly turned into the bright point of my week. We talk about everything from her English lessons at St. Louis Adult Education Centre. Last week, the lesson was on Canadian provinces and the national anthem, so that was a really fun chat that we had, to our families and friends. Firdaus is here tonight. Do you want to say hi, Firdaus? Yay, everybody give Firdaus a round of applause. You want to say something? Yeah.
I would like to say thanks, Bisan. Also, I would like to say when we started Meet Bisan, we spent the hour lessons and studying. That's it. After that, we started to talk about our families, our problems, everything. Now, I improved my English. Also, I made a first friend in Canada after 2 years.
So when Firdaus arrived in Canada, her English level was a 3. Now she's at 6. She's about to graduate and about to move on to a 7, where she can actually go back to school, get her accounting degree equivalent in Canada, and enter the workforce here. The help that you could be giving people like Firdaus is measurable, meaningful, and motivational. I am so fulfilled by this volunteer opportunity, and all I want is for you to try this. Dave and Gina from Multicultural Centre will be tabling in Area 151 after the pitches are over, and if you're watching from home, you can find out more about KW Multicultural Centre's programming by going to kwmc.on.ca. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Bisan and Firdaus. Welcome to the community. Glad to have you here. All right, next up we have Mike Pereira, Manager of Business Development at the David Johnston Research and Technology Park at UWaterloo. Mike is pitching on behalf of Women's Crisis Services, who operates 2 emergency shelters for abused women and their children, plus a regional outreach program, the only charity of its kind in this region. Please welcome Mike.
Hi. You guys hear me okay? Yeah? Not at all intimidating to have to follow all of those pitches. That's really great. So I want to say I am not here because I have a wife or a mother or a sister. I have all those things, but I'm not here because I have personal connections to the women in my community. I don't think that's a relevant reason to get involved in trying to stem violence in our community. I'm here because, on average, Waterloo Regional Police they respond to 16 calls a day related to domestic violence in our community. 16 times a day. Women's Crisis Services gets, on average, 7 calls a day from women in crisis trying to escape. I'm here because they have 90 beds in 2 shelters that are full every single night. Tonight, with women and children escaping violence. I'm here because somehow women in this community managed to find the strength to leave their children, their lives, their homes to escape violence. Mostly though, I'm here because those are just the numbers we know about. That scares me. We really don't know how many women in this community are struggling with violence and can't leave. They might be afraid because they don't know what their abuser will do to them if they try and leave. They might be afraid because they won't be believed. They might be afraid because they will lose their families, their children, their friends. Or they might just be feeling alone and they don't know who they can ask. It's very likely that almost everyone in this room might know someone who is directly impacted by domestic violence. If you don't know about it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's because we haven't created a community that makes it safe for women to come forward and talk about their experience. We haven't shown survivors of abuse that we can be trusted to believe them, to support them, and to get them to safety when abuse is happening. Now, I know that sounds bad, and it is bad, but I don't want you to confuse a bad situation for a hopeless situation, because it is not hopeless. I have a little extra time than I thought, so I'm gonna tell you a very quick story. A little over a year ago, there was a woman who got woken up in the middle of the night by her drunken husband screaming at her to get out of the house. He didn't want to see her anymore. So scrambling around in the night, trying to wake up her kids, get them into the car, find her keys, get into clothes, while her husband is screaming at her, and she's worried it's going to escalate to something a lot worse. So she managed to get to a friend's house, but she couldn't stay there. So she had to go back the next day. I can't even imagine. And so she knew she needed to get out, but she's got 2 kids. She's a student, so she has no income, and she doesn't know where to go. So she reached out to Women's Crisis Services. The outreach program there helped her to plan her escape. They got her in touch with community housing so she would have a place to live. Today, she's back in school, she's thriving, her kids are doing great, they're happier than ever, and she's free from violence. We can make this better. We can build a community where it's safe for women to leave abuse. And that's why I'm here today, because I want all of us to think really, really hard about what we can do to make this community safe for women to talk, to leave, and to live a life without fear. So that's what I'm really hoping you'll do, is give some of your time to Women's Crisis Services to ensure that everyone in this community is safe and can live without fear. Thanks very much.
I'm sure many people in the audience might know somebody who has been abused, and I'm sure many of us work with people who are new to the country, or individuals like Sean who have a disability. Before we started, I talked about organizations that were relatable, and I think that's what we got. And I talked about passion, and I think that's what we got. So please join me in giving a huge round of applause to everybody that came up here to talk about these charities. I'd like to thank all of our pitch partners and charities for donating their time to this event. Honestly, thank you all so much. Your involvement is what has made this event so meaningful and so special to us. And another huge thank you goes out to everybody else in the audience and those that are watching online. Thank you for seeing value in giving back to this community and investing in it.
If you want to see dozens more volunteer opportunities all in one place, we encourage you to check out the Volunteer Action Centre at volunteerkw.ca. They'll also be hanging out in Area 151 following this event, alongside all the other great charities you heard about tonight, to answer any questions you may have.
And we'd like to give a final thank you to Plugin and Communitech for sponsoring this event. Now, if you'd all like to head over to Area 151 through those doors, you will find all of the charities and participants who spoke today tabling, and you'll be able to ask any questions you may have and find delicious tacos, refreshments, and great conversation.
Thank you all so much for coming, and have a great evening.
Thank you.